This is fluid coding and AI. GPT 5.5 sounds like a half step, but OpenAI is pitching it as something bigger, a model built to stay with real work. Not just answer a prompt, but research, code, debug, analyze data, use tools, and keep moving until the task is done. The question is whether the evidence supports that story, and where the limits still show up. Before the benchmarks, the first trap is the name. GPT 5.5 is not one identical experience everywhere. There is ChatGPT Thinking, GPT 5.5 Pro, Codex, API Access, and Fast Mode in Codex. The same model family can mean different context windows, different prices, and different tool access. So the practical question is not just, is GPT 5.5 smart? It is, which version are you using, what work are you giving it, and how much verification do you have around it? OpenAI's strongest claim is not just raw intelligence. It says the biggest gains are in agentic coding, computer use, knowledge work, and early scientific research. The launch evals back that framing with scores like 82.7% on Terminal, Bench 2.7% on OS World, verified 84.4% on BrowseComp, and 55.6% on Tulathlon. Those numbers point at a model that is better when the task spans tools, files, browsing, terminals, and multi-step execution. Our first-party coding run tells a similar, narrower story. Against 21 coding cases, OpenAI Codex with GPT 5.5 scored 1735 out of 2,100, or 82.62%. It was perfect on tasks like a word counter, fast API health and echo endpoints, JSON config merging, Slugify, notifications, notes permissions, billing, policy authorization, and agent run replay. That is a strong coding agent signal, but it is not a universal model quality claim. The failures are the more useful part. In the same run, GPT 5.5 scored 40 out of 100 on the hard job queue case, 50 on the showing scheduler, 60 on the webhook receiver, and 60 on the very hard secure file pipeline. That pattern matters. Edge cases, concurrency, migrations, scheduling, security boundaries, and messy requirements still need tests, review, and a harness. GPT 5.5 can be powerful and still miss important pieces. The pricing changes the decision. The API price listed for GPT 5.5 is $5 per million input tokens, 50 cents per million cached input tokens, and $30 per million output tokens. GPT 5.5 Pro is much higher at $30 input and $180 output per million tokens. OpenAI argues GPT 5.5 can use fewer tokens on Codex tasks, so the real question is price per completed task, not price per token. The context window story also needs precision. The API model page lists GPT 5.5 with a 1,050,000 token context window and 180,000 max output tokens. But Codex launch copy says GPT 5.5 in Codex has a 400K context window. ChatGPT help lists 256K or 400K depending on paid tier and manual thinking selection. So yes, the huge context exists. No, it does not mean every GPT 5.5 experience has 1 million tokens. On research work, the story is progress, not saturation. OpenAI says GPT 5.5 improves early scientific research workflows, and GeneBench reports 25.0% for GPT 5.5 at XI reasoning, with GPT 5.5 Pro at 33.2%. The system card also reports a 23% claim-level factuality improvement on conversations users had flagged, but only a 3% response-level reduction in factual errors because the model tends to make more factual claims. Better does not mean effortless truth. The safety story is inseparable from the capability story. OpenAI classifies GPT 5.5's cybersecurity and biological or chemical capabilities as high under its preparedness framework, not critical. UK AISI also called an early checkpoint one of the strongest models it has tested on cyber tasks. AISI reported a 71.4% average pass rate on expert-level cyber tasks, but also reported failures, including an industrial control range it did not solve. This is a risk signal, not a cyber how-to. This is why benchmark honesty matters. OpenAI reports strong results on several agentic and tool use evals, but its own table also shows mixed results. Claude Opus 4.7 is listed above GPT-5.5 on GeneBench Pro Public and Finance Agent, while GPT-5.5 leads on several other reported evals. OpenAI also notes evidence of memorization on GeneBench Pro. The honest takeaway is workload-specific progress, not a universal crown. My practical verdict is this: use GPT 5.5 where the task is valuable, messy, and verifiable. It makes the most sense for coding agents, long document work, data analysis, structured research, and tool-heavy workflows where tests or source checks can catch mistakes. I would not treat it as an unsupervised truth engine, and I would be very careful with security-sensitive autonomy. GPT 5.5 looks powerful enough to change workflows and inconsistent enough to still need a harness. That is the GPT 5.5 story I would actually build around. More autonomous work, better coding evidence, real costs, and limits that still matter. If this helped you think more clearly about where GPT 5.5 fits, like the video and subscribe to Fluid Coding and AI.